My name is Grahan Cooley. I am the product marketing manager for the Azure CDN. With me is my boon companion, Anton Kucer, who is the technical lead for our product. Today we're going to talk to you a little bit about powering premium media workloads. And we've got a little twofer in you as we're going to then wax philosophic a little bit on the Multi Cdn and about how we see that developing in the industry. And then we've only got about 30 minutes to try and pack all that in, so let's get started. Anton.
So we've built a pretty extensive and powerful platform that uses our cloud infrastructure to deliver video to any device anywhere in the world. We call this platform Azure Media Services, and it's based on the premise that you can take any content from any source anywhere, whether it's live streaming or on demand, edit, create, or produce it, move it to the cloud, process it in the cloud, and then distribute it to any device. Now the platform is pretty broad, and it has pretty widespread. Well, I'm not going to go deep dive into each one of these elements. We wanted to give you a brief overview of the end-to-end workflow. From the point at which you submit content, and when I'm talking about content, once again, this can be either live or on-demand content. We allow you to submit it to any Azure data center worldwide. You can encode the content, transform the content, and then distribute it to any playback device that you want to reach. We've had pretty wide adoption of customers using Azure Media Services, and this is a wide example of different customers. Many of these customers, such as like NBC or the CW network, have both the rights to distribute it, to broadcast and also stream the content. But what's really interesting is some of the other customers that we're working with, such as NGSN, which has the rights to, over the internet, distribute soccer leagues from South America and Europe in the US. Now they're not using any of their own physical infrastructure. This is entirely built on top of Azure. And so it's an infrastructure, a TV network that exists only in the cloud. You're able to watch TV today directly from NGSN. They have a 90-day free trial today that you can go watch, and I will see how well the internet is working today and see if we quickly log in and give you a demo.
Very risky live demo scenario.
Hold on. So this is a live ingest. They're pushing in a single MPEG-2 TS transport stream. And then we are directly converting into multiple bit rates in the cloud. And then when clients connect in, we will create on-demand assets for the content. And then we'll be able to stream to any of the devices, whether it's iOS or Android or Windows, and we'll directly convert that in the cloud into the multi-bit rates and then convert it on the fly into Dash or HLS or smooth streaming. So this is a just overview of the architecture briefly that we're using in the cloud today. So it's live ingest that's coming in, going into Azure for the live encoding. As I described, going out to multiple devices. We use Azure CDN to do the distribution so that we can reach worldwide, get worldwide distribution. And then everything else that the NGSN is doing is completely built on Azure today, and that includes all their customer management. So their CMS, their subscriber info is using other services in Azure, such as like SQL or Azure Cache today to do run their service completely today. So none of their own infrastructure completely built on Azure today. So one of the big things that we introduced and one of the big things that NGSN is leveraging today, one is the ability to ingest multiple formats. So we'll do RTMP, smooth, or in the case of NGSN, they're using MPEG-2 TS over RTP. Live cloud encoding, we're using multiple, where you send your single bit rate up and the multi-bit rates being sent out to the clients. We do direct packaging of content to all the four major adaptive streaming formats, so Apple HLS, multiple formats that, V3 and V4, MPEG Dash, smooth streaming, and then additionally Adobe HTS. Additionally, if you want to protect your content, you don't want to make it open for everyone, you can use either a lightweight AES encryption or Play Ready if you want it more robust and you want to really set the rights in terms of how someone's going to use that. The Azure CDN integration is something we introduced just a few months ago, which allows you via a single click, a single checkbox inside of the Azure Management Portal to enable CDN and get that scale worldwide without having to worry about doing any kind of direct integration configuration yourself for the CDN. Now, Grahan's going to jump in and talk a little bit more about the Multi Cdn angle and how we handle that for customers.
Thanks, Anton. So this is going to be more of kind of an open discussion, although discussion implies that you guys will be talking back and it's mostly me just going to be talking at you. The Azure occupies kind of an odd and unique space in this industry that we see. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what that is and kind of what we're seeing from our customers. Anton talked a lot about what Azure looks to you guys. We want to say what you guys look like to us. So Azure is Azure's big, Microsoft's big. I think we all know that. We see a massive amount of business coming from the Fortune 500 companies. We're transacting with massive amounts of offers. Our offer landscape is massive. In the last 12 months alone, Azure's pushed out over 100 new offers and SKUs. So why does that matter? It means that we have unique problems, right? We occupy kind of a unique spot where we are, our whole offering is extremely broad and complex, which means we need to make our products more broadly consumable to our customers. We have so many products that it gets difficult for our customers to comprehend everything that we're offering them. Now, this has advantages and disadvantages. The advantages are that we are extremely likely to get a chance to sell almost everything that we offer. The disadvantage is that we can't possibly actually sell everything. As a cloud platform provider, as opposed to a pure play CDN provider, we've had the opportunity to kind of observe the rise of this multi-CDN deployment scenario. So more than observe it, actually. We are also a customer. We're a major CDN consumer, distributing software updates over the last few decades. So we've always been kind of at the forefront of consuming that type of thing. So we purchase across all the major CDN providers as a customer. And we're very much a participant and a believer in the multi-CDN as a way to get solid and reliable deployment out to our customers. So we shepherd many customers from that on-prem experience into the cloud. We're usually there. A lot of the conversation we have are that conversion from on-prem over to the initial cloud deployment. And increasingly in the last few years, CDN has become a natural kind of first work stream to talk about because it's easy to separate that and migrate it without touching your initial core deployment. So we see this conversation often. As a provider of many cloud services, we have a kind of a unique advantage of being able to work with customers at a high level and help them get the solution stack that they want. There's a famous scene in Miracle on 34th Street where the Macy's Santa tells the little girl that she can get the skates cheaper from Gimbals. My coworkers cringe whenever I use that metaphor, but as I cast customers as a little child. But it certainly isn't the point that I'm trying to make. The point is that it's important to us that our customer gets the solution for their business, not ours. So we have a long conversation with them to make sure that they're getting all the pieces that they need, whether or not those pieces come from us or from somebody else. We certainly believe that our services are competitive enough that the vast majority of our customers will be able to get the vast majority of what they need from us, but we recognize that it's a rare circumstance where we're going to get 100% of a customer's business in the modern solution stack. We think that the value of providing that freedom to choose provides their confidence in that customer to stay with us and to trust us as a provider for most of their services. If you love a customer, set them free. So As we offer a broad suite of services that allow for unitary billing, management, and tracking of those services, we're really kind of a natural choice as a second CDN provider for many of our customers. We have a unique volume licensing agreements that allow customers who have signed with us are probably already enabled to purchase and off the CDN off their existing contract. All they really have to do is configure it. So it makes for an easy secondary CDN on standby story. Our customer commitments cover all Azure services, so there's a flexibility of spend there that allows them not to worry if they're going to leave money on the table. So it becomes an excellent second choice for them. If it turns out they don't need CDN from us, if they don't ever need to deploy that secondary CDN, they can spend those committed dollars elsewhere. So benefits of a multi-CDN are fairly apparent. In addition to redundancy and reliability, you can do scenario or geography-based load balancing. Every CDN has its own strengths and weaknesses, and by engaging multiple providers, you can exploit the strengths and kind of avoid the weaknesses of those individual providers. This is especially powerful in the networking space where those strengths or weaknesses are dynamic and can change hour to hour. Typically, we would see someone start with a single global CDN and then perhaps add another. And then they may target a specific region where they see performance lagging for them or their audience or market growing dramatically. And then finally, they may do some spot coverage here and there where they're not getting the kind of coverage that they like. If you look at the Asia coverage in my made-up CDN network, looks like they'd be well suited for World Cup 2018. So we do see a lot of hurdles though, and this is one of the things where we think we can provide some value in providing the customer's perspective on this. There are numerous hurdles, right? Technical hurdles, business hurdles, and just basic practical hurdles. One of the most glaring technical hurdles is getting alignment on advanced features across platform. There are several solutions for load balancing, some quite sophisticated, like our friends at Sodexis who are here, and I'm sure some of you will attend later today. That works well with traffic, for which the systems are generally fairly comparable. But we've seen CDN deployments becoming increasingly more complex as the many features move from origin out to the edge. In recent years, I'm sure you're all well aware, dynamic site acceleration has become a critical CDN element. And even more recently, security has taken center stage with the rise of massive scale DDoS attacks and customer concerns generally over data privacy. Many CDN providers are using these advanced services product differentiators, so we recognize that is a way to tell the difference between one core provider from another. From our perspective, we understand that it allows you to distance yourself from your competitors, but we think it limits the customer's ability to kind of get the most stable and complete CDN deployment. The customer solution may if you're ever providing a solution that is locking the customer in the modern society, in the modern environment, Microsoft has learned the hard way that is a fairly risky approach. There's business hurdles as well. These have even less options for mitigation than the technical hurdles. We've seen a rise in some solutions that help manage traffic and multiple CDN deployments, and I'm sure you're going to learn about even more today and over the course of this week. There's probably even a few in this room chomping at the bit to tell me about your solution. But we have several ways, but I think we still have a ways to go before that experience is truly painless for the customer, and so that he will be able to kind of manage that process without a great deal of pain. We also see radically different billing models, right? It's hard nobody has really settled on some kind of industry standards for what some of these different prices cost, or different, not cost, but how they're actually billed. SSL is radically different from provider to provider, and then any of the advanced services. Now, perhaps even more importantly, there's practical hurdles of support, right? Tolerable support experience is almost impossible in the modern multi-provider scenario. We don't really have a solution for this one. We just have experience with how difficult it can be to work across multiple companies' support organizations. Even when we've rallied multiple partners and organizations and everyone's willing to work together, There's massive hurdles in tooling and in process and response SLAs. And then finally, this one's particularly acute for us, there's sales education issues. We have thousands of sales folks, we have hundreds of products. How do we add yet another level of complexity onto an already complex product offering and provide our salespeople with the training and materials to handle yet another product pivot? So how far do we go? So like I said, we don't really have an answer. This is more of an open question for us as an industry, really. How far do we want to go to support an easy multi-CDN experience? We believe that market pressure will ultimately dictate this as a necessity, and if we don't embrace it and try and figure out how to provide that for the customer, somebody will. Organic solutions will rise to meet that demand. I think we've already seen that with the load balancing solutions and the reporting integration solutions. We obviously have a large stake in the customer having the best total experience possible because we believe, as Microsoft, that it will be able to provide some of the portion of any customer's solution. So we want to make sure that that customer is getting what he wants, and as we often front most of their stack, they will come to us first with pain or unhappiness. Looking at the topics across the sessions today and the rest of the week, I think we can see this as kind of a developing topic weaving its way through many of the other sessions. We definitely look forward to hearing other perspectives on it and encourage you guys to keep an ear out for it. And if you see us around, please don't hesitate to give me your thoughts. And that's all I have for today. I'd like to open it up for any questions that you might have about either of those two massively different topics that we covered. Not all at once. Or I could give you your 9 minutes back. Cool, thank you.